I guess because I've been doing a lot of things on leadership, I've been trying to figure out, are leaders born or made? Do they just come here exceptional? Or do they become exceptional through the things they learn or suffer? And I started looking at, to me, the greatest pastor, leader of the Old Testament was pretty messed up. I mean, if I was God and I was going to choose somebody to address kings and lead millions of people out of bondage, to negotiate deliverance, I would have never picked Moses. There are a lot of reasons that Moses wouldn't have been my first choice. By the time Moses got the sentence out, you'd have been an old person. It is not his speech impediment that is the most disturbing. They say the formative years of a child, the first few years of their life, is the most important years. They say everything matters, right down to playing classical music while you're pregnant. They say it all affects the IQ and the intellect, the colors in the room, the way you talk to babies. By that standard, Moses would never be a great leader. Moses was hidden under the sink, in the dark, in the shadows, wrapped in blankets, on the hit list, about to be destroyed. His mama was hiding him under suitcases or bags of luggage or somewhere. He was hidden. He was hidden as a baby. His identity was hidden. His greatness was hidden. His destiny was hidden. His purpose was hidden. It wasn't like he was bounced around and played with and loved with and nurtured in a normal, yeah, let's deal with that, normal. He spent his early months hidden in the house, and then his mama put him in a basket in a river with snakes and alligators and crocodiles by himself to float down the river. He was abandoned. He was hidden. He was abandoned. He was adopted. He was an Egyptian by situation, but a Hebrew by birth. That's confusing. What language, what culture, what God, what religion, what ceremonies, what cleansing. He was a montage of so many different things. He was like a mutt. His name Moses means to be drawn out. And I think that when greatness is inside of you, it has to be drawn out. Some people's greatness is drawn out by being exposed to other great people, and they see greatness in other people, and it draws out the greatness that exists inside of them. Some people's greatness is drawn out by challenges, adversity. They don't even know they're great until the Bible said that when the lion roared, the Spirit of the Lord came upon Samson. Sometimes it is the attack that draws the greatness out of you. You don't even know you're great till the lion roars, till all hell breaks loose, until everybody faints and you decide something's got to be done. Sometimes it is the trouble you avoid that God is using to draw the greatness out of your life. Why would you make Moses a leader? He was a failure. He was a confused failure who tried to take matters into his own hands and ended up murdering a man and had to run out of his own house. He leaves Egypt a refugee, on the run, a criminal, on the hit list of the king. He leaves Egypt in a mess and tries to make a new life for himself. He hooks up with the Midianites, a little group of people who didn't even know who he was. They thought he was an Egyptian, but he was a Hebrew. Sometimes you hook up with people who think you are something that you are not. And if they knew who you really were, they might not would let you in. But the reason it's easy to deceive them is because you're not sure who you are either. It's not that you're evil or wicked, it's just that you're confused and vulnerable and susceptible, and when you don't know who you are, I guess I become whatever you call me. Like Jacob, who became what they called him. His name meant trickster, con artist, scammer. Every time they come here, little scammer, get you some breakfast. Come on, scammer, it's time to go to bed. People can pronounce things over you when you're a child that you live up to. And until he has an encounter with God, he doesn't know who you are. God tells him who his name is. Your name is not Jacob, your name is Israel. For you are a prince. A prince who's a thief and a crook and a liar? Yes, it hadn't been drawn out. There are some things that God has in you that has not been drawn out. 40 years in ministry and I still got things in me that have yet to be drawn out. That's why I woke up this morning. And I didn't wake up dead, because it was another day to give me a chance to draw it out. Look at somebody say, I'm still drawing it out. If you stick with me, you're going to see new sides to me that you never saw before, because I'm still coming into my own. At the time we find Moses on the backside of the desert, we know he's over 40. We know he's over 40 because he spent 40 years in Egypt and 40 years on the backside of the desert. He was 80 when he finally got it together. Don't you sit there and look all funny, because you sitting up there 61 years old and crazy as a drunk bed bug. He was 80 years old. All of you who feel like you got it together, I got a flash for you. It takes a long time to figure life out. Give yourself some time. Stop trying to be too smart too fast. It takes a while to come into your own. It takes a while to draw out who you are. God in a burning bush appears unto Moses and tells him to take off his shoes, that the ground you stand on is holy ground. And at nearly 80 years old, God unfolds his destiny. Ain't that amazing? Now, this is easy for me to preach, more so now at 58 than it was at 28. Because I'm old enough now to realize that it's going to take longer than I thought at 28. That there are still areas in my life that me and God have to sit down and talk about. That I am still being fathered. Where are my real people at? I want some folks with some gray hair that still do some dumb stuff, and God is still fathering you to back me up on this point. Touch me, people say, I'm working on it, I'm working on it, I'm working on it, I'm working on it. I'm working on it, I'm working on it, I'm working on it, I'm working on it. I'm working on it, 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 I'm still working on it, I'm working on it. I'm better than I used to be. I'm smarter than I used to be. I'm wiser than I used to be. I'm brighter than I've ever been, but I haven't mastered it yet. I'm still working on it even right now. Every now and then I relapse and go back to thinking like I used to think or feeling like I used to feel. He's not finished. And in essence, God has given this huge assignment to go and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. And he gave the assignment to somebody who was running and hiding. And he gave it to somebody who was still confused and vulnerable and insecure and intimidated. And he gave it to somebody who had some stuff that hadn't been worked out yet. God gave a big assignment to a guy who was so small. So if you're feeling small inside, it doesn't mean that you don't have a great call. Look at this. Look at this with me. I'm going to read a few scriptures. Exodus 4, 1 through 6. And it says, and Moses answered and said, but behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken to my voice, for they will say, the Lord hath not appeared unto thee. And the Lord said unto him, what is in your hand? And he said, a rod. And he said, cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground. It became a serpent. And Moses started running. See, when you start running from one thing, you're going to keep running from everything. That's why you need to stop running and face whatever you got to face and deal with whatever you got to deal with. Because if you run from Pharaoh, you're going to run from the serpent. You're going to run. When are you going to stop running? Moses, you'll never be Moses if you keep running from stuff that scares you. Moses, you'll never be great if you keep running from things that scare you. You're running from something that God gave you. And the Lord said unto Moses, put forth thine hand and take it by the tail. Put forth. Now, I was so scared, I'm running. And you want me to grab. Now visualize this. How many of you want to grab a snake by the tail? God can call you to grab stuff you're scared of. Tell somebody, say, take it by the tail. Oh my God. And he put forth his hand and caught it, and it became a rod in his hand, that they may believe that the Lord God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has appeared unto thee. I want to go back for a minute and process what we heard. God, I would do it, but they will not believe me? Was it really that they would not believe? Or is he imposing on them something that's really coming from him? Whatever you've been saying about they might really be you. They won't accept me. They won't love me. They won't accept me. They can't use me. They'll never embrace me. You'll never get anybody to embrace you till you embrace yourself. You'll never get anybody to believe in you till you believe in yourself. You'll never get anybody to love you till you love yourself. Your they might be you in disguise. What is in your hand? This Sunday morning, if I don't get anything else accomplished, I want to ask you, what is in your hand? Before you assign your destiny to something externally, have you assessed what is in your hand? Because somebody could take what is in your hand and win. While you keep crying about what's not in your hand, God said, I don't need anything that's not in your hand to bless you. I'm going to use something that is already. I feel like I'm talking to somebody. I don't know who it is. What is that in thine hand? If you don't do anything else today, I want you to do a self-assessment of what is in my hand. All the other voices that have been talking to you have been telling you what is not in your hand. God does not need anything that is not in your hand to bless you. Your blessing is hidden in what is in your hand. The problem is you have a limited perception of what is in your hand. You think it's just a rod. You think it's just a stick. God says, I want to show you the potential of what is in your hand. Throw it down. Now this is a powerful thing, because if Moses does not learn this in private, it will mess him up in public. Because when he gets down to the Red Sea, he's going to have to use that same stick to part the Red Sea. And if he doesn't have any confidence in private, he won't have any power in public. You're going to need what you got. Oh, God, help me. Oh, my God, I feel that thing. I feel that thing. I feel that thing. Shove your neighbor and say, you got more than you think you do. You can do more than you think you can do. You can have more than you think you can have. The problem is not coming from what they believe, it's coming from what you believe. Oh God, I'm talking to somebody. Stop blaming people for the years you wasted. It's not coming from them, Moses. You was a failure in front of them. Now you're a failure in private. It can't be coming from them. They're not even there. The voice is in the house. The Lord said unto him, put forth thine hand and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand and caught it, and it became a rod in his hand. It became a rod in his hand. He caught it as a snake. It became a rod. Sometimes you will not see till you snatch. The problem with most people is you want to see your way clear before you pick it up. But God said you got to pick it up scared, nervous, worried, intimidated, not sure of yourself. It will only turn into a rod when it's, oh my God. God. You don't even know what you got till you pick it up. Who am I preaching to? It's going to turn in your hand, not in your eye, in your hand. When you grab it, it'll change when you touch it, because you're going to touch it by faith. God is asking him to grab what he just got through running from. That's great preaching, but that's scary living. If I was scared enough to run from it, now you're asking me to pick up. Just imagine it. I can't teach it. Just imagine it. You're in the house. It's a 7-foot copperhead. And the voice of the Lord says, take it by the tail. Now, I could snatch it up if I thought I could handle it. But if I thought I could handle it, I would have never run from it. Now you want me to grab something that I don't think I can handle. Now, the snake you might be grabbing might not be a copperhead or a rattlesnake. It might be raising a child, or getting married, or giving love. It depends on what have you been running from. God is calling you to snatch what you've been running from. When God called me to preach, respectfully, I thought, you got your wires crossed. I am scared to death. When I first started preaching, I couldn't even hold a microphone. They had to put it on a stand, and I had to put my hands behind my back and lean forward, because if I took it by the hand, the crowd would see that my hands were shaking. But God will often bless you the greatest through the thing you are the most afraid of. Take it by the hand. Slap somebody and say, take it by the hand. You're not going to see it till you grab it. It's going to change in your hand. One day I just snatched the mic and forgot to be scared. You cannot overcome what you will not confront. If I didn't say nothing else and walked out the door, I have already preached. That they may believe that the Lord God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, hath appeared unto thee. I'm in verse 5. Verse 6. And the Lord said, furthermore, put now thy hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, the hand was leprous as snow. God said, they're going to believe when you do. They're going to love you when you do. They're going to value you when you do. He said, we got some more work to do. Stick your hand in here. And it came out leprous. Stick it back in. It came out healed. God is saying, do you see how I can control situations? That I can control the outcome? Wait, baby, there was no cure for leprosy. Anybody who got leprosy died. So God said, I'm going to give you a terminal disease, and then I'm going to take it away. That's who your boss is. That's who you're working for. That's what he's able to do. Why are you afraid? If the power of life and death is in God, if the power of life and death is... Verse 8. And it shall come to pass that if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to the voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. And it shall come to pass that if they will not believe also these two signs, neither hearken unto thy voice. Wait a minute. You mean the last line of defense is my voice? That if they don't believe my miracles, they have to believe the voice of a guy who can't even... Why would God ask this guy, out of all the people, to talk? He uses a guy who can't talk to talk, and says, if they don't believe the rod turning into a serpent, and if they don't believe the leprosy being healed, they will hearken unto my voice, God. You're going to use the weakest part of me to do the greatest thing that has ever been done. Yes, my strength is made perfect in your weakness. If I wanted a guy who could talk good, I had one. I'm going to use you scared. I'm going to use you nervous. I'm going to use you stuttering. I'm going to use you in spite of your insecurities and your doubts and your incompetence. But I cannot use your unbelief. What they think is not the problem. What you're scared of is not the problem. The fact that you can't have talk is not the problem. The problem I'm having with you, Moses, is your belief. 5 times in the passage is one word: believe, 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 believe. Not one time the God who healed leprosy, not one time did he say, I'm going to heal you from stuttering. Now, you know, if you could heal leprosy, you could heal stuttering. My God, if I had a leper and a stutterer, just myself, I'd rather try the stutterer. I'd have a better chance of healing the stutterer. I might could scare you into stop stuttering. Shut up! You might do something. But you can't holler at leprosy and drive it away. God healed the worst thing, left him struggling with the little thing, because the little things will not stop you from doing the great things. His strength is made perfect in weakness. But the problem, the reason that God appeared to in the burning bush to Moses in the first place, the reason he asked Moses a question, what is in your hand? Because God is challenging what Moses believes. I'm not talking about what you say. I'm talking about what you believe about yourself.